I never imagined I'd stand outside my own dream home like a trespasser. But here I am, gripping the cold metal gate of Lakeview Estate until my knuckles turn white. The house Ethan and I spent years designing now looms before me like a stranger wearing familiar clothes. White brick walls that once promised warmth now feel clinical, sterile, as if the building itself is rejecting my presence. Sophia Reed's cherry red Porsche sits in the circular driveway, a garish reminder of everything I've lost. My stomach churns as I remember the endless overtime hours at Harrison and Blake, the weekends sacrificed, all to afford this very home. Now Ethan has handed it to his mistress for a single dollar, like some cruel joke at my expense. I expected to see a for sale sign, some indication that this was all temporary. Instead, a gold-plated nameplate near the front porch catches the morning light. Reed Residence. Bile rises in my throat. I force it back down, taking slow breaths as I steel myself for what comes next. 2 weeks earlier, I was reviewing case files in my office when Rachel Myers appeared in my doorway. The junior associate shifted from foot to foot, clutching a manila folder like it might bite her. Something in her expression made my blood run cold. "Miss Carter?" Rachel's voice wavers. "I think you need to see this." She places the folder on my desk with trembling hands. The moment I open it, the words burn into my vision. Grantor. Ethan Carter Vertical Bar Grantee. Sophia Reed Vertical Bar Sale Price, $1. The floor seems to tilt beneath me. I've reviewed thousands of property transfers, but never has legal jargon felt so personal, so visceral. My legal training kicks in even as my world crumbles. I rifle through the supporting documents, finding a hastily filed quitclaim deed. The implications hit me like a physical blow. Ethan has legally severed my ties to our home. I don't remember walking to Ethan's office. One moment I'm at my desk, the next I'm storming through the doors of Carter and Associates, where my soon-to-be ex-husband sits behind his oversized mahogany desk. He's sipping an espresso, flipping through what I'm certain is another real estate portfolio with Sophia's name all over it. "Olivia." He barely looks up, his voice smooth as aged whiskey. "Did you come by to congratulate me?" The property deed makes a satisfying thwack as I slam it onto his desk. "You sold our home, for $1, to her." Ethan smirks, taking another deliberate sip of his coffee. The casual gesture makes my blood boil. "Technically, I owned it. You were too busy with your law firm to deal with tedious details, remember?" My hands tremble, not with fear but with an icy fury that's crystallizing in my chest. "Do you think this is over? You think I won't fight?" He leans back in his leather chair, smugness radiating off him in waves. "It's legal, Olivia. You, of all people, should know that." My breath catches. In that moment, I see it clearly. Ethan truly believes he's won. That realization hardens into something dangerous inside me. Something that tastes like resolve. Later that night, I pace my downtown apartment, the space that once felt temporary but now represents all I have left. Grief threatens to overwhelm me, but I force it down, channeling it into something more useful: strategy. Sophia Reed has no idea what she's walked into. And Ethan? He's drastically underestimated my knowledge of real estate law. I pour myself 2 fingers of whiskey, welcoming the burn that matches the fire in my gut. A yellow legal pad sits on my desk, pristine and waiting. I flip to a fresh page and write 2 words in bold strokes: find leverage. If Ethan thinks this is checkmate, he's about to learn I'm not even playing chess. I'm playing a game he doesn't know the rules to yet. The next morning finds me in the records division of the county courthouse, surrounded by stacks of deed restrictions I haven't looked at in years. My eyes burn from lack of sleep. But then I see it, a clause buried deep in the original development contract that makes my heart race. If property is transferred for below market value within X years, reassessment and tax penalties apply. My legal mind kicks into overdrive as I snap a photo of the document. The county assessor's office will soon notify Ethan of a tax bill so massive it would cripple anyone's finances. I lean back in my chair, allowing myself a small smile. Later that night, I pull up Ethan's financial records, tracing transactions that shouldn't exist. He's been moving money for months, leaving a trail he thought was invisible. "If you're trying to hide something, Ethan, you failed," I mutter, filing the documents into my growing case folder. I pick up my phone and type out a message, each word dripping with venomous subtlety. You might want to review the fine print before getting too comfortable in your new home. Ethan's reply is instant. What did you do? I take a slow sip of whiskey, savoring the moment. Let him sweat. Tomorrow, the real game begins. The fluorescent light in my office at Harrison and Blake flickers, casting an unsteady glow over mountains of paperwork. My eyes burn from staring at endless documents, but I force myself to keep reading. Every signature, every notarized page, every clause somewhere in this maze of legalese. Ethan made a mistake. He had to. I take another sip of cold coffee, grimacing at the bitter taste. The clock on my wall shows 11:47 p.m., but time lost meaning hours ago. County records, financial transactions, real estate filings, they blur together until my vision swims. Then I see it. My hand trembles as I lean forward, reading the words again and again. A small, innocuous clause buried in the original deed restrictions, something so easy to overlook if you weren't specifically searching for it. If property is transferred for below market value within 5 years of purchase, reassessment and tax penalties apply. My heart pounds against my ribs. This isn't just a loophole, it's a loaded gun, and I'm about to pull the trigger. The memory hits me like a physical blow. Ethan and I, sitting in our old apartment, wine glasses in hand. His voice warm honey, dripping with false sincerity. You trust me, don't you? He'd asked, sliding the paperwork across our coffee table. I'll handle all this. You focus on your cases, I know you don't like dealing with the tedious details. I remember signing without a second thought, exhausted from another 14-hour day at the firm. Back then, his offer felt like love, like partnership. Now the memory tastes like ash in my mouth. My hands clench into fists. No more trust, no more blind faith. This time, Ethan won't see the ambush coming. The next morning, I sit across from Daniel Lee in his corner office downtown. The forensic accountant's reputation for exposing corporate fraud precedes him exactly what I need right now. Daniel's brow furrows as he scans through the stack of financial documents I've brought him. Bank statements, offshore transactions, construction payments. His expression grows darker with each page he turns. You were right, he says finally, sliding a thick file toward me. Your husband's been diverting funds for months. Almost all the construction payments for the house came from your joint account. I exhale slowly, tasting victory. So legally, I still have a claim to half the house's value? More than that. Daniel taps the file with one finger. If we can prove he intentionally concealed assets before the divorce, the court may rule this as financial fraud. A smile tugs at my lips. Ethan just made his worst mistake. That afternoon, my heels click against marble as I stride into the county court building. The petition for an emergency asset freeze feels heavy in my hands, each page carefully prepared, each allegation meticulously documented. The request outlines Ethan's pattern of fraudulent asset concealment with surgical precision. At the clerk's window, I watch as she stamps each document. The sound echoes like a battle drum, heralding the start of a war Ethan doesn't even know he's fighting. With this injunction filed, he can't make any further property transactions without court oversight. His financial empire is about to crumble. Across town at Carter and Associates, Ethan's world starts to implode. Through Rachel's network of legal assistants, I hear how it happens. The court notice arrives during his morning meeting with potential investors. His face drains of color as he reads. The papers tremble in his hands. Is everything okay, Mr. Carter? One of his associates asks. Ethan forces a smile, but his fingers crumple the document's edges. Just a minor issue to sort out, he lies, already reaching for his phone. Before he can connect with his lawyer, a notification pings. His bank accounts are under review. I watch it all unfold from my office, sipping fresh coffee as my phone lights up. Ethan's name flashes on the screen once, twice, 7 times. Each call goes straight to voicemail. The texts start flowing. Olivia, what the hell did you do? We can fix this. You don't understand what you've started. Answer your damn phone. I set my phone aside, letting myself savor his desperation. Oh, but I do understand. The real game has just begun, and Ethan's finally realizing he's losing. The best part? He still doesn't know what's coming next. I open my laptop and pull up the county tax assessment portal. The reassessment notice is already processing within days. Ethan will receive a tax bill so massive it'll make his head spin. My fingers hover over the keyboard before typing a quick email to Daniel. Let's move forward. Ethan needs to learn what happens when he plays dirty with the wrong woman. As I shut my laptop, satisfaction settles in my chest like aged whiskey. Ethan's world is crumbling. And I'm just getting started. The rhythmic tapping of Ethan's Italian leather shoes echoes through Carter and Associates as he storms into Richard Davenport's office. I watch from my temporary workspace at Harrison and Blake, tracking his movements through the glass-walled building across the street. Even from here, I can read the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands clench and unclench at his sides. Pull up the transaction records. I tell Daniel Lee, my eyes never leaving Ethan's agitated pacing. The forensic accountant's fingers fly across his keyboard, bringing up a maze of numbers that would confuse most people. But I see the truth hidden in plain sight. Every fraudulent transfer, every attempted cover-up. There. Daniel points to a series of offshore transactions. He tried to move nearly $2 million into accounts in the Cayman Islands last night. A smile tugs at my lips. Perfect timing. I slide my pre-prepared motion for an expanded asset freeze across my desk, already signed and ready to file. Within hours, Ethan won't be able to access a single hidden dollar. My phone buzzes. Rachel Myers appears in my doorway, her expression a mix of excitement and nervousness. It's done. The banks have flagged all suspicious transactions. His accounts are frozen indefinitely. I check my watch. 3, 2, 1. My phone lights up with Ethan's name. I decline the call, savoring the small victory. Let him sweat. Across town, in her overpriced penthouse, Sophia Reed scrolls through article after article about the lawsuit. The words financial fraud investigation and pending tax audit jump off her screen. Her perfectly manicured nail hovers over a headline that must feel like a knife to her throat. Carter estate transfer under criminal investigation. When Ethan appears at her door, she probably expects comfort, reassurance, maybe even a plan. Instead, he thrusts legal documents at her. Sign this, transfer the house back to me. I can picture her face falling, reality finally crashing through her carefully constructed delusions. That's why you're here? Her voice shakes. You want me to take the fall for you? I can fix everything, Ethan promises, the same hollow words he once fed me. But Sophia sees through them now, just as I finally have. The truth hits her like a physical blow. She was never more than a pawn in his game. Back at Harrison and Blake, my support system gathers in the corner office that will soon be mine. Jonathan Blake's hand rests reassuringly on my shoulder as Rachel presents our latest findings. He falsified income reports to secure business loans, Rachel explains, spreading documents across the polished conference table. We're not just talking about property fraud anymore. I exhale slowly, feeling the last remnants of my old self, the trusting wife, the cautious lawyer, fall away. File it all. I say, my voice steady. Every last piece of it. Let's end this. The pieces are falling into place faster than even I anticipated. That evening, Ethan receives an urgent call from Richard Davenport. I can picture him in his office, that smug smile finally cracking, as his attorney delivers the news about the additional fraud charges. His business partners are already demanding answers. Investors are threatening to pull funding. For the first time since this began, Ethan is the one scrambling to keep up. I stand before my bathroom mirror, studying my reflection. The woman staring back at me isn't the same person who once believed in Ethan's lies. She's stronger, sharper, unafraid to wield her power. My phone feels heavy in my hand as I dial the number of a journalist I know at the Financial Times. I have a story for you, I say, my voice unwavering. Documents to prove everything. Ethan took everything from me, my home, my trust, years of my life. Now I'll take everything from him, piece by carefully calculated piece. The clock strikes midnight, as I imagine Ethan in his penthouse, probably nursing a whiskey, his world crumbling around him. His phone buzzes with an email notification. Urgent. Media inquiry regarding alleged financial fraud. I lean back in my chair, watching as the first headline breaks. Business mogul Ethan Carter, accused of fraud. Legal battle unfolds. His face spreads across every financial news website. The empire he built on lies finally exposed. I pour myself 2 fingers of whiskey, raising my glass to the city lights. Checkmate, I whisper, knowing this is only the beginning of his destruction. The real game is just getting started. The fluorescent lights of Harrison and Blake cast harsh shadows across my desk as I review the final document in a stack that will destroy Ethan's life. My signature flows across the bottom of the petition for additional financial fraud investigation, each curve of my name another nail in his coffin. Daniel Lee, our forensic accountant, leans against my credenza, his tablet displaying a web of transactions that would make a money launderer blush. This will trigger automatic reviews across all his accounts, he says, satisfaction evident in his tone. The moment Judge Reeves sees these numbers, he won't have time to hide anything else, I finish, passing the signed petition to Rachel. My young protege's hands are steady now, unlike 2 weeks ago, when she first brought me evidence of Ethan's betrayal. She's learned quickly that justice requires a spine of steel. I watch her purposeful stride as she leaves with the documents, headed for Judge Malcolm Reeves' courthouse. Known for his zero tolerance of financial crimes, Reeves is exactly the judge we need. My computer pings with the courthouse confirmation email, and a smile tugs at my lips. Let the games begin. Across town, Ethan paces his office at Carter & Associates, his Italian leather shoes wearing tracks in the carpet. The headlines are spreading faster than his damage control team can contain them. His attorney, Richard Davenport, watches from behind wire-rimmed glasses, his expression grim. The business network wants an exclusive, Davenport says, his voice tight. It's your chance to get ahead of this. Ethan straightens his tie, that familiar, arrogant gleam in his eye. He still thinks he can charm his way out of anything. 2 hours later, under the merciless studio lights, that confidence crumbles like a house of cards. Mr. Carter. The anchor's voice cuts like a scalpel. I'm holding legal filings that suggest systematic fraud spanning several years. Your ex-wife's evidence appears quite thorough. Sweat beads on Ethan's forehead as she reads from my filings. His carefully crafted image implodes in real time while millions watch. By the time the red recording light blinks off, his phone is already buzzing with calls from fleeing investors. The Lakeview estate feels different now. Sophia Reed sits in what was meant to be my breakfast nook, surrounded by tax notices bearing increasingly urgent red stamps. Her manicured hands shake as she scrolls through dozens of unread emails from the county tax office. The latest notice leaves no room for interpretation. 30 days to pay, or face property seizure. The amount would make anyone's stomach drop. She picks up her phone, desperation finally overwhelming pride. I need help, Olivia, she says when I answer, her voice small. Please, I didn't know about the tax penalties. Ethan never told me. I let the silence stretch, savoring the reversal. You should have read the fine print, Sophia. Just like Ethan should have. What do I do? The question comes out as barely more than a whisper. I exhale slowly, remembering my own moments of devastation. Sell the house, I tell her, my voice clinical. Sell it fast, before the tax penalties bury you. She hesitates, and I can hear the painful realization in her silence. Ethan never loved her enough to tell her the truth. The IRS won't wait for you to figure this out. I add, my words sharp with certainty. Within hours, a real estate agent's sign stands in front of the house I once thought would be my forever home. The dream Ethan dangled before her has become a millstone around her neck. Ethan's private line rings, the one he reserves for urgent matters. The bank's fraud department doesn't waste time with pleasantries. Mr. Carter, we're seeing some concerning patterns across your accounts, the representative says. All transactions will be frozen pending review. His other line beeps, Sophia. Her text message is brief. I'm selling the house. I can't pay the taxes. Don't contact me again. The coffee mug in his hand shatters against his office wall. I imagine the imported Brazilian roast staining his pretentious abstract paintings. Ethan slams his fist against his mahogany desk, the pain barely registering through his fury. The house is gone. The money is vanishing. His assets are frozen. From my office downtown, I watch his empire crumble in real time. CNBC's ticker scrolls with updates about Carter and Associates' plummeting stock value. Former business associates trip over themselves, issuing statements about severing all ties with Mr. Carter pending investigation. My phone buzzes with a message from Daniel. It's happening. The IRS is launching a formal investigation. Ethan won't recover from this. I pour myself 2 fingers of whiskey, savoring each sip. Ethan spent years treating me like I was beneath him, too focused on tedious details to see the big picture. Now I'm the one pulling all the strings, and he's powerless to stop it. Late that night, Ethan sits alone in his darkened penthouse, the blue glow of his laptop casting ghastly shadows across his face. Every account shows the same message. Account frozen, under review by fraud department. His phone vibrates one final time. The county tax office's last warning. Immediate payment required. Failure to comply will result in further legal action. Ethan grips the edge of his desk, his breath coming in shallow gasps. Everything he thought he controlled is slipping through his fingers like sand. I lean back in my chair at home, watching the city lights twinkle through floor-to-ceiling windows. Tomorrow, the final phase begins. But tonight, I savor my whiskey and the knowledge that Ethan's empire is crumbling, one frozen account at a time. Fix this, now. Ethan's voice crackles through his office phone, desperation seeping through every syllable. I can picture him at his mahogany desk, the one he used to brag about importing from Italy. His perfectly pressed suit now wrinkled from hours of anxious pacing. Richard Davenport's sigh fills the line. Even through the speaker, I can hear the defeat in his tone. There's no fixing it, Ethan. The IRS, the fraud investigation, the asset freezites all stacked against you. A dull thud echoes, Ethan's fist meeting his precious desk. I lean back in my chair, savoring the sound of his composure cracking. Through the glass walls of my office, I watch Rachel organize the final pieces of evidence we'll present today. Her hands move with practiced precision, each document another nail in Ethan's coffin. Hours later, I stand in courtroom 3B, the familiar scent of polished wood and anxiety thick in the air. My legal team flanks me like a well-oiled machine, Daniel's steady presence to my left, Rachel's quiet determination to my right. Across the aisle, Ethan slumps in his chair, his usual swagger replaced by a sheen of cold sweat that makes his face look waxy under the fluorescent lights. Judge Malcolm Reeves enters, his robes rustling with authority. The bailiff's voice rings out, and we rise in unison. My fingers brush against the thick folder of evidence, months of late nights and meticulous investigation bound in manila and determination. Your Honor, my voice carries through the hushed courtroom, steady and clear. The evidence before you proves that Ethan Carter knowingly funneled assets into offshore accounts to avoid equitable division in this divorce. Furthermore, he used joint marital funds to build Lakeview Estate, despite later transferring ownership under fraudulent terms. A murmur ripples through the gallery. I don't need to look at Ethan to know his jaw is clenching. It always does when he's cornered. His attorney jumps up, spouting objections that sound hollow even to my untrained ears. But I'm already sliding the authenticated transaction records across the bench, each page another shovel of dirt on the grave of Ethan's empire. Judge Reeves studies the documents for what feels like hours, though my watch tells me it's only minutes. When he looks up, his gaze fixes on Ethan with the weight of incoming judgment. Mr. Carter. The judge's voice cuts through the tension. Based on the submitted evidence, this court has no choice but to rule in favor of full financial transparency. You will provide an audited account of all transactions within the last 5 years. Ethan's hands curl into fists under the defense table. Even from here, I can see his knuckles whitening, the same way they used to when a deal wasn't going his way. But this isn't a deal he can salvage with his usual charm and half-truths. That evening, my phone chimes with an email from the forensic investigator. The attachment opens to reveal page after page of hidden accounts, each one a testament to Ethan's arrogance. He really thought I wouldn't find them. The dummy corporations, the shell companies, the labyrinth of transfers designed to hide our marital assets. I signed the settlement agreement with a steady hand, watching the ink dry on the page that grants me half of all remaining liquid assets and business investments. The pen feels heavy with justice. By morning, my phone is buzzing with news alerts. Business mogul Ethan Carter exposed for fraud, screams the headline from the Financial Times. I sip my coffee, watching as Ethan's carefully constructed house of cards collapses in real time. His stock prices plummet. Business partners vanish. The journalist he tried to manipulate has published a scathing exposé instead, using the very interview he gave them as ammunition. Meanwhile, across town, Sophia Reed signs away the last piece of Ethan's delusion. Lakeview Estate, the home he tried to use to hurt me, sells for enough to cover the massive tax bill, with Sophia pocketing the difference. I hear she's booked a one-way ticket to somewhere warm and anonymous. Smart girl, finally. Across the city, in a half-empty luxury apartment, Ethan sits surrounded by legal notices and unpaid bills. His bank accounts are nearly drained. No more first-class flights. No more $1,000 dinners. No more keeping up appearances. His phone lights up with a notification. Final eviction notice. He sinks into a chair, staring at nothing. Just a month ago, he had everything. Now he's watching his entire world crumble, piece by piece. My phone buzzes. Ethan's name appears on the screen, a message glowing beneath it. You've destroyed everything. I never thought you'd fight back like this. I delete it without responding, and turn toward my window. The city sparkles below, lights twinkling like stars fallen to earth. For the first time in years, I feel the weight lift from my shoulders. Tomorrow, I'll wake up without the shadow of Ethan's betrayal hanging over me. But tonight? Tonight I pour myself a glass of the same whiskey he used to claim was too strong for me. And I savor every drop of my freedom. The elevator doors slide open to the top floor of Harrison and Blake, and I pause for a moment, taking in the sleek expanse of glass and steel before me. My heels click against the marble as I approach my new office, running my fingers over the golden nameplate that still doesn't quite feel real. Olivia Carter, partner. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across the polished mahogany desk that dominates the space. I set down my leather briefcase, remembering the cramped office where I first learned of Ethan's betrayal. This room is twice the size, with a view of the city that takes my breath away. No more shadows. No more doubt. My hand brushes against a frame on the desk, and I pick it up, studying the photo inside. It's from the firm's holiday party 3 years ago. Me in a black cocktail dress, standing beside Ethan. My smile looks genuine, but now I see what I couldn't then. The slight tension in my shoulders, the way I'm angled toward him like a flower desperately seeking sun. That woman trusted too easily, worked too hard to please someone who never deserved it. I turn the frame face down, with a decisive click. That version of me no longer exists. The door swings open, and Rachel appears with Daniel and Jonathan in tow. Rachel's grinning, holding a bottle of champagne, while Daniel carries a cluster of glasses. Officially a partner, Rachel says, her eyes bright with pride. Who would have thought, huh? Daniel sets the glasses on my desk, shaking his head with a knowing smile. I did. I've seen you take down bigger sharks than Ethan Carter. Jonathan pops the cork with practiced ease, the sound echoing off the glass walls. You earned this, Olivia. Every single bit of it. He hands me a glass, and the champagne catches the morning light, turning golden. As we clink glasses, I look at these people who stood by me through everything. Rachel, who brought me that damning property transfer. Daniel, who helped me trace Ethan's hidden accounts. Jonathan, who never once doubted my abilities. I was never truly alone. My phone chimes with a new email notification. The subject line catches my eye. I need help. My husband is hiding assets. The sender's name is Emily Dawson, and her desperate words hit me like a physical blow, echoing my own past. Without hesitation, I pick up my phone and dial her number. She answers on the first ring, her voice thick with tears. I've been where you are, I tell her, my tone steady and sure, but you're not alone, and I know exactly how to fight back. After we hang up, I walk to the window, looking down at the city sprawling below. The weight I've carried for so long has lifted, leaving something lighter in its place. My reflection in the glass shows someone I barely recognize. Stronger, sharper, free of the anger that once threatened to consume me. My phone vibrates against the desk. A text from Ethan. Can we talk? I stare at his name on the screen, remembering the woman who would have once jumped to respond. Instead, I tap block contact with a steady hand. No anger, no hesitation, just finality. The city stretches out before me, a maze of possibilities I never saw when I was busy being Ethan Carter's wife. Now I see nothing but horizon, nothing but future. I never thought freedom would taste like champagne and victory, like sunlight on glass and the steady beat of my own heart. But here I am, in an office I earned, surrounded by people I trust, helping other women fight their own battles. I am no longer the woman who stood outside her dream home like a trespasser. I am the architect of my own future, and I've only just begun to build.